Hello YouTubers, this is Cessnaace back again with another Mega LaserDisc ads video. Some good news first of all. I went by yesterday and today out at the flea market over this past weekend. Bill had warned everybody the previous weekend that he wasn't going to be there. His parents were going to be running the shop. As a consequence, according to his parents, whom I like very much, told me none of his regulars have been coming in today because he warned everybody last weekend that he wasn't going to be in this weekend. But anyway, I went in because I wanted to pick up more LaserDiscs. I want to get as much of this collection as I can before somebody beats me to it, because there have been some really nice LaserDiscs in here, some real steals. Everything's $3. And I've been coming across some really cool stuff. So I mentioned to his parents, it would be cool if Bill would buy another collection in the same quality as this one. He said, oh, he will. He's actively looking right now for other LaserDisc collections that he can buy that are in really nice condition, that are titles that have a great deal of interest. So that really excited me. And also, they're going to be, looks like they're going to be expanding again, growing even larger than they are now. They've taken over a second stall there at the flea market because the person who was running that stall wasn't paying their rent. Well, the person next to that stall has been paying the rent, but it hasn't been opening the store, and that's against policy at the flea market. So they are about to lose their spot, and Bill's going to be getting it if they don't act quickly. So he's going to be knocking down another wall, and he's going to have three stalls all next to each other without any walls dividing them. This first release, very, very special. These are all in alphabetical order. James Cameron's 1989 film, The Abyss, letterboxed. Now, this was released on LaserDisc in the US, according to the LaserDisc database, 5 times. And in Japan, it was released 6 times. So there are 11 releases of this title in NTSC standard on LaserDisc. Well, when I called up the catalog reference number, which is how I did the search, catalog reference number is 156185. I saw 2 releases there. One, hunky dory and everything's cool, but the other one said pending submission, awaiting validation, words to that effect. In essence, it was a title that had been rumored to have been released. This particular release had been rumored to be released, but nobody had ever proven that it existed. Generally, on the rare occasions when I come across those entries, I don't mess with them, because if you click on the hyperlink, you can see the little information that there is on those titles, because they are, after all, rumored. But you can't add any info. You can't submit updates or like mint marks or whatever that might validate the title. So I generally don't mess with those. I went and clicked the hyperlink for release 1561-85 that was hunky dory, and noticed that it was manufactured by Pioneer USA, released in 1990. Pulled out my discs, as I always do, because I double checked the mint marks to see if they match up. There have been several occasions where I have come across titles that turned out to have been releases manufactured at more than one site, more than one facility. There have been several cases where there was a site listed, and I found a copy that had been made at a second facility, and there have even been occasions where there were two sites listed, and I found one that was manufactured at a third facility, but the same release. So I entered in the mint marks, thinking that that's what was going on here. But then curiosity got to me, and I clicked on the hyperlink for 1561-85, the release yet to be validated, because no one had ever proven that it existed. And lo and behold, it stated, even though there was only a small sample, part of a mint mark from one side, but which indicated that it was manufactured by Mitsubishi. And I said, released 92, supposedly, and it said 13 chapters. And I said, wait a minute, that Pioneer pressing release from 90 had 12 chapters. Now, there are several ways that you can tell the difference between the 90 release and the 92 release. The 90 release was manufactured by Pioneer USA. The 92 release was manufactured by Mitsubishi in Japan, but for US release. So now there are actually 6 US releases for the Abyss and 6 for Japan. Now, another way you can tell is that the 1990 release has the CBS Fox logo there, whereas the 92 release manufactured by Mitsubishi has the Fox Video logo. Another is the number of chapters. Same on the back. Instead of CBS Fox Video, it says Fox Video. But another way you can tell, and you're not going to be able to make it out with my dodgy camera, but right there it says copyright 1992 Fox Video Incorporated, all rights reserved. So this is the first time that I have come across a rumored release that had yet to be verified, and I was able to provide the necessary information to validate it. I contacted Julio, first of all. He's a really nice guy. He's a site administrator. Speaks fluent French, English, Japanese, and I can't remember what all else he speaks. But he's constantly moving from place to place as his skills are needed. The U.S., and then he'll go to France, and then he'll go to Japan, and then he'll go to France, then he'll go to Hong Kong. But anyway, I went to the forums, and I created a thread for this title, this release, this 92 release, and I included several photos that I had taken. And Julian commented in that thread that those photos are what convinced him that this actually existed, because he saw all the trademarks of the rumored 92 release instead of the already known 90 release. So that is really cool, and it originally sold for like $60 or $70, and I got it for $3. Don't you just love that? Next up we have Amateur. "47 chapters. Released by Columbia TriStar Home Video. Release number 49076. Presented in the original theatrical aspect ratio, approximately 1.66 to 1. Well, it says widescreen, but 1.66 to 1 is not very wide. In fact, on those kind of releases, you're going to just see a sliver of black at the top and bottom. Okay, big animation buff, so I have a lot of anime and American animated films, as well as some Australian and French and one Swedish animated films in my collections, both on LaserDisc and DVD. This is Babe. This was actually released twice in the US. And I believe this is the second release, although don't quote me on that. If you doubt anything I say, or something doesn't sound right because my brain doesn't always cooperate with me, check it out. Go to the LaserDisc database or somewhere else that you trust, but I would go to the LaserDisc database and do the research yourself, because sometimes I misspeak, and when I play a video back after I've recorded it, I double check to make sure that all the information is correct. That's why I'm going to be having some deja vu feelings when I show some of these LaserDiscs, because I did a video showing them but I didn't upload it, because when I played it back I found a factual error, so I didn't upload it. This is in CLV mode. Aspect ratio 1.85 to 1, so a little wider than 1.66. Released from MCA Universal Home Video, release number 42692. Babe. Okay, this was a really cool find. This is a Hong Kong film, Chungking Express, and this is the very first release on a label called Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder was started by Quentin Tarantino as a way to distribute Asian films in the US. This is Rolling Thunder release RT10001. But what I found interesting is it says copyright 1997, the Voyager Company. Now, the Voyager Company is the joint venture between well, there was a joint venture between Voyager Press and Janus Films called the Criterion Collection, and so Voyager released all of the Criterion Collection releases. And so when I saw that Voyager Company, but it doesn't have a Voyager Company catalog reference number. It does have the practice, however, that Voyager Company uses, which is to indicate which printing this is. And this is the first printing, 1997. If there was a second printing, it would say second printing 1998 or whatever. But also, Voyager Company would go into detail about how they transferred it, what the source material was, and so forth. You'll notice audio track information. The digital tracks and the audio tracks have the same information, the original film soundtrack. This is the first time I believe I've ever seen it mentioned when both are the same. Generally, they'll say analog and digital, and if they're the same, that's as far as it goes. But Rolling Thunder, release number 1. Okay, next up we have John Goodman in Matinee. This is the first of the Deja Vu titles. This is from MCA Universal Home Video, release 41548, as I've mentioned before in another video. Generally, when MCA Universal released titles that were on 2 discs, they didn't use a gatefold jacket the way MGM-UA generally did, but just a standard jacket. Sides 1 and 2 are in CLV mode, constant linear velocity. Side 3 is in CAV mode, constant angular velocity. Although it's not going to be CLV, it's going to be CAA, constant angular acceleration, which many plants switched over to CAA after Pioneer developed it because it was vastly superior to CLV. But some manufacturers stuck with CLV. For example, 3M. Their opinion was it didn't apply to them because they didn't manufacture discs the way anybody else did. They used their own method. So they didn't have the inherent problems with CLV that you would normally get. If I haven't already said, 33 chapters. Now when I show you this next one, remember, I said before, everything that I am showing you cost me $3. I was in a real hurry to put this in my stack when I saw it yesterday and today. It is Charlie Chaplin's film Modern Times. This is a CAV release, not CLV or CAA. No CAA discs were identified as CAA on packaging. They continued to refer to them as CLV even though they were CAA. Exclusive, extraordinary quality achieved from digital mastering of a composite fine grain derived from the original film negative held in the Chaplin archives. Never before seen original story notes, shooting log, and production reports for a feeding machine sequence. A witty video reminiscence by music arranger David Raxon, accompanied by original photos and manuscripts. Chapters and verses, a detailed index by chapter and frame number of key scenes and audio cues inside the jacket. That's one of the neat features of CAV releases is that you can not only access points in the disc by time into the disc or chapter number as you can with CLV, but with CAV you could also search by frame number. This is in a nice gatefold jacket. One side liner notes, and on the other side a complete breakdown of the highlights of the film by chapter number, and then you'll notice within each chapter, this is the information for chapter 2, they have highlights broken down by frame number. That's really, really cool find, especially for $3. Okay, this next one is based on a Stephen King novel, which I've read. I've got the unexpurgated version, which I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, runs over 1,100 pages. Anyway, this is Needful Things. Stephen King films are very problematic. Some are excellent, such as The Shining, Carrie, the Dead Zone as some examples. Some are dreadful, like Maximum Overdrive, which he directed. Anyway, this includes in the cast Ed Harris, Max von Sydow, and Bonnie Bedelia. This was released by New Line Home Video. Well, they licensed it to Image Entertainment. Catalog reference number ID 2432SU. Okay. This next one is a Hong Kong release. Originally cost 780 Hong Kong dollars. I paid $3 American for it. Published by Golden Cinema City Video Distribution. Once a Thief. This is a bilingual release. The languages being Cantonese and Mandarin. It's in the NTSC standard, which is the standard America and Japan share. So this will play on any American player just fine, just like Japanese discs do. As I've mentioned before, LaserDisc were not region encoded. Okay, this is from Warner Home Video, and this is actually one of the roughest looking in the collection, although it is still better than many that I've come across in the past. The original motion picture as shown at the New York Film Festival. Once Upon a Time in America, from Warner Home Video. Extended play, that simply means CLV/CAA. Release number 20019LV. Okay, as I mentioned before, the very first LaserDisc publisher in the world was MCA DiscoVision, although most people simply refer to it as DiscoVision. DiscoVision started releasing titles in 1978. In sometime around 1980, they shut down, and the quality control problems were just tremendous with DiscoVision. They shut down. They sold their facility to Pioneer, who completely retooled it and renamed it. It's now the plant that I refer to as Pioneer USA. But anyway, this is from Walt Disney, On Vacation with Mickey Mouse and Friends. Back in the day, I had this on VHS, and it was around $50. VHS was very expensive back then, as was Betamax. This listed for $9.98, which was the whole idea that MCA had, was creating a format that where they could release titles with the highest quality, but also the lowest prices. And something interesting about this, Disney never, ever puts copyright date on their videos because they're timeless, but this does. It's printed on the front of that LaserDisc player. Mickey is pointing to the copyright information. Well, yes, LaserDisc players were originally top loaders. Copyright 1978, Walt Disney Productions. Release number D61-503. Disney always swore they had nothing to do with DiscoVision. They didn't go anywhere near DiscoVision, which is kind of hard to back up because there are a lot of Disney titles that were released by DiscoVision. And MCA wouldn't have released titles made by or owned by Disney unless they were given the right to do so or sold the right to do so, because you don't mess around with Disney. At the time, you didn't mess around with MCA either. This is one of many music titles that I have in my collection. This one I didn't pick up yesterday and today. I got it from ABC Lasers. This is Paul Simon in concert. This includes Me and Julio, Down by the Schoolyard, Still Crazy After All These Years, Ace in the Hole, Something So Right, One Trick Pony, Jonah, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, Late in the Evening, American Tune, The Boxer, and The Sound of Silence. Copyright 1981. Published by Pioneer Artists. Release number PA-81-001. So this was the first Pioneer Artists release from that year. And I'm going to make this one the last one. I've already got a copy of this. In fact, I may already have 2 copies of this. But ABC Lasers had it for next to nothing, so I went ahead and got it. Point of No Return, starring Bridget Fonda. "16 chapter marks. Published by Warner Home Video. Release number 12819. Okay, I still have a lot to cover. Widescreen. And a lot of other things that I collect to show as well. I'm trying to do these as quickly as I can so that I get caught up. Until next time, stay awesome.